Hello everybody, this is a video diving deeper into 40 things to consider when you're planning for your kids' yoga class. This is Giselle Shardlow of Kids Yoga Stories, and we help teachers and parents make yoga and mindfulness fun and easy for kids. So what we're going to look at is this kids yoga planning checklist that you received in your Teaching Kids Yoga Toolkit. And for those of us who are a little bit more visual and need a little bit more explanation, I thought I'd dive deeper into each one of those to make it more clear for everybody. So who am I? I'm Giselle. I'm the founder of Kids Yoga Stories. I come from years experience teaching kindergarten to fifth grade in different countries in Guatemala, Canada, Australia, and the United States, and I have a Master of International Education. So I'm really using my teaching background to inform what we're going to talk about today and applying it to your kids' yoga class. Some thoughts before we dive in. I highly recommend you put everything away, put everything to the side, turn off your devices, turn down your music, and really be present. I really want you to get something out of this video and something you can apply right away, this afternoon, tomorrow, immediately, to make your kids' yoga classes even more successful for you and for the children. And while we're going through this, the main idea here is really to tune into your children, really tune in and connect on a deeper level. All right, and we do that by getting curious. We get curious about them, about their interests, about the space, the environment, what time of day, all those kinds of things. And we commit. We commit to making different choices, being clear on how best to deliver the kids' yoga class. And also, as we go through this, let's be open to try new things and bring that beginner's mind. You may have been practicing and teaching yoga for years and years and years, decades, or you may be someone who's just getting started. Regardless, I encourage you to bring a beginner's mind to this video and see if there's something that you have already tried before, but maybe you try it in a different way. And also, we're looking at 40 ideas. There's no way you're going to be able to do this every single time you plan for a kids' yoga class, so pick and choose from the ideas. You might even do a couple from this video right away, and then next week or next month or next year, pick a few more. Do what works for you. The point is for me to provide you with lots of different ideas to inspire you, to help you jumpstart your planning and to see things in a different way, all in the best interest of providing the best possible outcomes for our children. The coolest thing, I think, before you start to plan, I would highly recommend taking a few deep breaths. Few deep breaths, 3 deep breaths before you do planning, before you start your class, to really think about your students, the space, the plan that you have, so you can ground yourself in that. There's no rush. Take 3 deep breaths. Okay, let's jump in. 40 things to consider when planning for your kids' yoga class. And these are in no particular order. I'm just going to jump in. So kids' ages. So let's think about how we're going to appeal to wide ranges. A lot of you talk about having 2-year-olds and 12-year-olds. So how are you going to appeal to all the different ages? What's age appropriate? What you might do with teenagers, very different what you do from little toddlers. Are the parents going to be there or not? Okay, so let's think about those ages. Let's talk about additional needs of the children. Thinking about, you may have to talk to the parents, talk to the teachers. What information can you find out before you start a class about the additional needs of the children? Are there sensory issues, mental, physical, emotional needs? Do some need props? Do they need additional chairs? What is it they need? If you can be more prepared and you know what they need, it's definitely going to be more successful. The length of time for your class. Is it only for a minute? Do you just have a minute? Are you in a transition? Do you have between classes? Can you just do a breathing activity? Can you just do one pose during your morning meeting? Do you have 5 minutes? Do you have 15, 45, an hour? Think about how the length of time in your class is going to highly inform what you're going to put in there. Possible disruptions. Do other adults, children come in throughout the class? Are there transitions of classes outside your space? Are there certain behaviors that might come up that you know about already that might be disruptive? What can you do to plan for those disruptions? Class helpers. Who can you help? Who can you get help to set up? Can somebody already be there before you to set up the space? Can you get the children to help you set up the space? Can you give them little roles, little tasks to do before you start? Class theme. Look at the list of themes. You'll get a list of 85 theme examples, and also on our blog we have loads. You can search for those. Think about things that are fresh and fun and engaging, and make sure it's really relevant and meaningful for the children. It could be something related to what they are already doing in their classrooms. Maybe it's holiday or seasonal, or maybe it's a topic of study that they're doing already that would be interesting to extend in the yoga class. Lesson objective. Take a moment to think about, would you like it to be calming or energizing? Do you want to focus on their strength and flexibility, or are you building their core? Is it a thematic, fun, lighthearted? It's really about connecting. Behavior management plan. Make sure we have a plan that's created and we have clear expectations and consequences. And know what the children's needs are, making sure we're building on those relationships. And we again do this by getting curious and connecting and finding out what their interests are, but letting the children know what the behavior management plan is. Even do it together on the first time you meet, and they can all sign off on it. Routines and procedures, same thing, that we have a clear structure, that everyone feels safe in clear routines that happen each time with consistency and predictability, that step by step they know exactly what to do, that when they come into the class, into the space, and how they leave the space. Engagement ideas. First, really important to calm and regulate yourself, and then you're more able to help them engage in the lesson. You could do that by asking questions, using topics of interest. You could build that connection by being interested in them genuinely, or being surprising and spontaneous. And you could also refer to our engagement cards too for a lot of different ideas here. Directions. Make sure your directions are simple, short, clear, and that they're age appropriate. Attention signal. Choose one consistent way that you want to bring the attention together of the group. It could be a call and response. For example, we used to do 1, 2, 3, eyes on me, and children respond 1, 2, 3, eyes on you. Or it could be something like, give me 5, and that the children have to give you the 5 with their looking eyes, quiet mouth, listening ears, gentle hands, and still body. Choose one signal that's going to work for you, and explain that with the children and reinforce that over and over again. Think about any space issues. Is it too busy or too distracting in the space? Is it crowded? Are there things in the way? What can you do to make this space inviting? And the same goes for classroom setup. Make sure it's clear, the space, make sure there's nothing that could hurt the children, make sure it's safe, there's no obstacles there, and that everybody can see and hear you. Visual schedule. Put a clear plan posted at the front of the space. You might put it on a whiteboard, you might actually make your own little visual schedule so that the children know exactly what's going to happen and have that in a consistent format. Welcome greeting. I used to love the handshake, high five, or hug, but feel free to choose whatever works for you. Have something that children are expecting when they first see you. Open ritual. Think about something to bring everybody in and together and settled. It might be a song that you love, maybe a singing bowl, maybe a bell, something that they know that signals the start of their yoga class. A yoga book. Try bringing a yoga book in that's meaningful and relevant to them, that's really engaging, and that's age appropriate. Same with the children's book. You might want to choose some children's books, put them around the room that have to do with the theme that you're looking at, that you're going to be playing with that day, and they could be looking through some of the books before you get started. So you want to be making connections to their learning experiences, again, making sure it's engaging and based on the theme. kids yoga props. Use these to capture their attention. They're usually visually appealing. You can have them as kinesthetically appealing as well. Make it fun, but also, most importantly, explain the expectations of how we treat these props, how we bring them out, how we put them back, and how we treat them. Music. Keep it, again, thematic, age appropriate. Think about what kind of mood you want to bring to the class. Do you want it to be calming or energizing? Ask the children for their favorite music ideas. The older children will be much more engaged if they're bringing their own music. Imagine that. Yoga poses. Make sure you're following a flow that makes sense and is logical for their bodies. And keep those directions clear and succinct. Do step-by-step instructions and model yourself. Don't worry so much about perfectly aligned poses, but more about having fun with movement. Partner poses. So think about before you introduce this, make sure the children know each other or that they have some interaction, and see about what they would be comfortable with. Take time to explain the directions and also that it's safe, not just physically, but that the children feel safe with each other. Chair poses. You could use some chair pose cards that we have, or you can probably make your own. Make sure that there's enough space so they're not bumping into each other. And group poses. Consider how many you have in the group and what's the outcome you want to achieve, and again, about the safety. Making sure to be inclusive. Yoga cards for kids. You could buy them again or make your own. And same with yoga posters. You could have the children create their own. You could have them draw the poses, or you could download or purchase little images and make your own, or we've got loads on our blog and through our newsletter. Yoga games. Make them engaging and cool to have them bring in the attention of the children. You could adapt them from common kids games. You could bring in dice or math. Breathing exercises. Start simple. Highly recommend introducing breathing exercises that you have tried and you love yourself, and the children will then feed off that enthusiasm, and it'll be easier for you to explain the directions. Oftentimes, the most simple thing is the most profound, and this includes breathing. You know, if you do nothing else just to get started with kids yoga, teaching them how to breathe, take a deep belly breath, even one, try 3. Even that will make a huge difference. Meditation practice. Again, be in tune with the children. If they're all crazy at the end of the day and wild and energetic, sitting down immediately and trying to have them do a meditation practice is probably not going to work. However, if you're working your way through the class and you've brought them through, you've done some energetic games, and you've brought them down to more calm state, maybe you could bring it then. And you could even talk about it with them first before you even do it. Just explain the benefits of meditation. Do what's appropriate and build on it over time. Positive affirmations. Make them simple and inspiring. It could be something simple like, let's say I am calm, or I can do it. Maybe you want to talk to them about when they're prepping for their tests, for example. You could help talk to them about and teach them, how do you sit there before a test and in your mind you think, I can do it. You could even they could make their own little positive affirmation cards as well they could take with them. Mindful moments. Let's think about some little practices you could do to help children come to the present moment. So for example, you could hit a chime and they have to put their hand up when they stop hearing it. Or you could have them listen to sounds. It could be sounds that are far away, close in the room, inside their bodies. Or you could do the rainstorm in the hands, where you're doing pitter, patter, and then faster, and then you're clapping like a big rainstorm. It's all these things that we can help children come to the present moment. You could try coloring corner or mandalas, or have them do puzzles, or try I Spy. Lots of different ideas here. Community building. Take the opportunity to go around the room to have them share. You know, you might want to have passing something that they could hold when they're talking, like a talking stick, and give them 30 seconds or whatever like that. Make sure that everybody has equal amount of time, but children will be excited to share with you. And if you give them that space up front to share things, then maybe you'll get more buy-in afterwards. Ask for their input, right? Ask them what kinds of things would they be interested in doing in yoga, and ask them what they like about yoga class. Bring them together at the start and at the finish so they can feel that sense of security and belonging at the beginning of class and at the end of class. Extension ideas. Based on your topic or your theme that you're practicing in the yoga class, feel free to extend that into different math or science or language arts or art projects. Have them see that these topics are, you're learning through movement, and that you're extending to the other subjects that they are already learning. Art projects. You could do coloring pages, collages. You could do simple things like leave out some blank paper with some markers or crayons, through to maybe more intricate, interesting projects that have to do with your theme. Or you could have mandalas. Either they could color mandalas or they can create mandalas from nature. Closing ritual. So thinking about that sense of belonging, inclusion, predictability, helping the children feel safe. Think about what kind of ritual you could do each time you finish a class. You might want to come together in a circle, maybe look at a candle or look at something in the middle and have a moment of quiet, of silence. You could say namaste if that's appropriate to you, or make up a little song. Whatever it is, try and have something consistent so that they know that marks the end of their session together. Take home activity. Is there a coloring page or a yoga pose card? Is there something you'd like to give to them so they can bridge that from their yoga class back to their home? Backup plans. So things don't always go as planned. And do you have a list in your mind or written down of some backup ideas of things that you also could do that would support the experience? Parent-teacher communication. Think about, as you're making your plans, think about how you're going to communicate with the parents and the teachers. Do you want to talk to them before you start class? Can you stay back after and have a quick chat? How is it you want to present the information? Do you want to make a little handout and explain more about what your goals are and what you did in class? Reflection. Think about when you want to reflect on what worked and what didn't work, or what you would like to do differently next time. Would you do it at the end of class, maybe in the car or in your public transportation on your way back home, or maybe even at the end of the week? Build that reflection time into that bigger scope of your planning. And marketing material. Or do you want to give something to the parents and the teachers, telling them about other workshops or other classes that you're going to be providing to help them get hooked into your world of teaching kids yoga? If you have any questions at all about this video on the Kids Yoga Planning Check Sheet, please email me at giselle@kidsyogastories.com. I certainly hope that there's some little nuggets for you in terms of making your kids yoga planning experiences even more successful and effective. Thank you so much for being a part of our community.